Hello, everyone. I'm Matthew Allen, and I've just smacked my desk. Welcome back to the What a Thought podcast, uh, hosted by me. And that was an unnecessary sentence. I had already said that I was Matthew Allen. You could have assumed I was the host, because I'm not a moderator. What was I about to say? I need you to know my brain not present. It's physically not present. I've been doing homework. I've been doing readings and recordings and just everything just casually falling apart. Uh, as as a college student does, you know. And honestly, it's actually not that bad. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So far, this semester has been pretty solid. I have been having a pretty grandiose time doing the things that I do. I've been up to date on my work and all that other jazz, but also, it's only been 2 weeks. So we'll see how it goes for the next 14, seven of which you will get to hear about. Because, every other week, there's 14 divided by 2. There's going to be 7 what a thoughts that pop out throughout the semester, which is insane to think about, like, mathematically in that fashion. My throat, if you can't tell, is being weird and funky because I made a mistake and I ate cereal before I recorded instead of after. And if you don't know, milk and dairy products, they mess with your vocal cords. So that's why I sound like this. In fact, I'll properly dairy affects vocal cords. I'll Google it. The smartest thing anyone could do, and give you that all that stuff. Yeah. Why does dairy affect singing? Certain dairy products may cause the reflux of acid from the stomach, which may cause vocal difficulties. That's a different one. Ah, yeah. So it's because it could cause acid reflux, which then makes the acid from your throat cling to your vocal cords, and then make you have to do all the shit I'm doing, including drinking water. Because I can promise you, I did not sound like this before I drank the milk that was in the bottom of my cereal, but I definitely sounded like this afterwards, and it doesn't make sense. I just made direct eye contact with this unicorn face mask that has been sitting here for me to use for like 2 weeks almost. And I don't want to use it, but I also kind of want to. But it's one of those things where I'm conflicted on it. But yeah, that's why my throat's being all weird. Yeah, I think I already stated I thought I was recording What a Book today. So I was fully ready to come down here, do some Harry Potter voices. My Professor McGonagall is the voice I hate the most. I despise doing it because it's bad. It's the one that sounds the least like anything. Uh, which is also the same thing could be said about Harry and Ron. Sometimes they speak a little interchangeably in my head. But there's also like 10,000 characters in Harry Potter for you to worry about. And some of them are going to sound very distinct compared to others. And then there is also the fact that I didn't have to do voices. I could have just run the world girls and just read it straightforward to you guys, but that's not fun. There's nothing fun about that. I like to make sure that the things that are presented to you are fun, even if they're bad. And that's just how it is. Oh, that's cute. I was just showing a photo of a Camp Crystal Lake jersey that's got Jason's hockey mask and machetes on it. I'm a horror nerd, if you couldn't tell. I just watched Friday the 13th Part 2 last night for the second time and was reminded that this is probably the better set of characters to get out of this franchise, which is saying a lot for a franchise that has 10 movies in it. 11 if you count Jason versus Freddy, or was it Freddy versus Jason? Or Freddy v Jason, whatever they wrote on there. But yeah, alright. What's the first thing that's actually written in the notes now that we're like 5 minutes in and it's just me talking to myself? I thought about having a guest on. I had someone say they were interested in being a guest, but I instead instead of asking them, do you want to come be a guest, said, I'm going to go record What a Book. And now we're here. So I will instead tell you about the fact that I find textbook prices to be astronomical. Now, if you're not a college student, this means nothing to you. You're like, what's a textbook? That you have to buy? You have to buy textbooks? And I am here to tell you, yes. You do have to buy textbooks, and it's some nonsense. It's some absolute nonsense some of the times. I cannot find what I am looking for. That's what I was looking for. Okay. See, I had to buy 2 textbooks. And normally I don't buy textbooks. Normally I would rent it or like whatever. But it happened to be that these 2 particular textbooks were the only ones they had left, and they were both brand new versions, and apparently you cannot rent brand new textbooks. Right? You're not able to do that. And I was like, well, that's a little dumb, but it is what it is. My total for these 2 books, right? I'll tell you this. One of those books was like $27. I was like, this is fine. Whatever. It's probably the cheapest book I've ever purchased in my entire life as a college student. The total was about $364. So if you do that math, with one of those books being $27, that other book is about $330 something, $340 something, because I don't know if there's a tax on textbooks, which if there is, it's even more upsetting. But holy heck, that's ridiculous. There is no good reason on God's green earth for a single textbook to cost that amount. I've always felt that I thought it was dumb that you have to pay for additional items upon entering college after already paying to come to college, right? Like you pay to get into college. You pay to apply to a college. Like once you're in, you have to pay for things like room and board, meal plan, if you're far from home. So the fact that you then have to pay for the supplies necessary to complete a class that you've already paid to be in has always felt dumb. It's always felt like someone somewhere has just built this little niche market, because that's probably exactly how it happened. And now everyone else is just suffering for it. And I don't appreciate being one of the ones that has to suffer for it. Now, I know there's plenty of people that are out there doing that, and I'm sure there are other people who have seen, like, significantly more, like, astronomical prices when it comes to certain textbooks. But that's just so insane to me. Now, obviously, there are different techniques and ways that people can go about trying to save on textbooks, A lot of folk usually tend to get their textbooks shipped to them from Amazon, That's a whole thing. But let's see if I can try and find a textbook on Amazon. I've never made an attempt to do that, because sometimes it wouldn't come in time for me to be able to do my readings. Where's the textbook button? You would think there would be its own section. If I just put in textbooks. Textbooks? For college students. Physical examination and history taking? Some of these books are not that bad. If I compare it to what? Elementary geometry for college students. $57 to rent, $77 to buy. Why? Why is that geometry book so much? Algebra for college students, $119 to buy. What is this? USMLE? Is that a class? I'd like to know what this is for this book to be nearly a $300 book that is currently on sale. For over 80 years, Kaplan test. Oh, this is about the author. I want to know about the item, please. They're doing a little bad at explaining what this is. I just know it's a paperback. It's a medical thing. Okay, so it's a medical studies book that is nearly $300. My gosh. There's the description. 7 book set offers in-depth review with a focus on high-yield topics in every discipline, a comprehensive approach that will help you deepen your understanding while focusing your efforts where they count the most. So it's for medical students. I don't know what USMLE Step 1 is. I partially assume it's some form of test. But I need you to know that this is just lecture notes. This isn't even like a textbook. It is just like study this to help pass this test type notes for nearly $300. Now, obviously, it's probably something that's being bought for it to, serve its purpose and all that jazz, but that's so wild. I wonder what the most expensive one is if I filter it that way. How do I do that? Filters. I wanted to be price high to low. Price high to low. What's the most expensive textbook on Amazon, and show me why? Asymptotics, Non-Parametrics, and Time Series, a statistics book, and it's $452. Modern Psychology and Education, a textbook of psychology for students, $370. Why are these so expensive? There's no reason. Look at this one. Textbook of Pain. If you buy it, it's $202. If you rent it, it's $94. Well, of course we're gonna rent it then. But how do you return a book to Amazon? That's the question I need answered real quick, because I don't have a clue how that's done. So, yeah, textbook prices are very high. How do we fix that? A wonderful question I don't actually have the answer to. Personally, I understand that the pricing, the payment of purchasing or renting a textbook is supposed to go back to the supplier to pay off like rights and royalties and all that other fun jazz, and like the cost of printing and like the cost of mailing. But there's no world where we can effectively fully believe that the cost of doing all this for this one particular book should be $420 unless that book is going to like clean my dog. If it's gonna read itself to me and clean my dog and tell me I'm a good boy. Like there's no reason. Like I can tell you this. If I spend that amount of money on something, like one particular item, it's not going to be a book. It'll probably be a tech item. It'll probably be me upgrading my desktop, because I despise my current little desktop. He's doing his best, but he is also holding me back so much from the things I'm trying to do. And that's not very cash money of him. Which is the worst sentence I've just said. But yeah. Ooh. What else is in here? What else is in my notes? I only wrote a couple down because I've just been distracted. I've been distracted and listening to Distractable, which was a joke, but it is not. I also got a job, an actual job, so I've also been, working. So I haven't been doing too much. I haven't been doing too much outside of those facets to be like, let me write down these notes and be like, these are the things I want to talk about to what a thought. Especially because I also thought I had another week, because I'm just foolhardy like that, I guess. I definitely don't remember doing a Whatta Book last week, but I did. It's here. I see it in my thumbnails. I really am truly lost about that. I don't know how I lost enough time to just fully forget that I was doing a What a Thought. Like, my brain must have just short-circuited. Okay, I have to go open up another app because I learned something and I wanted to share it with you guys because it kind of just made my brain melt. And I don't know if it's in a good way or bad way. So I've been watching through the Fast and the Furious movies with a friend of mine. Their name is Luke. And we've been watching through those movies. We've gotten through the first 3. And so I was kind of sitting down, I was logging it in Letterboxd because I just enjoy the app for its diary function. I enjoy being able to be like, oh, I watched this on this day, because for my little brain, that just seems like a cool thing to have, to be able to go back and be like, this is what I watched. And I also still enjoyed that the first day I ever used the app was the first day of a new year. So it looks really like nice and neat when you go back to the beginning. Sipping some water. But so, like, as I said, we watched the first three. The first Fast and the Furious movie, obviously, it gets all the love as the kickoff for the franchise. It introduces us to Brian O'Connor, to Dominic Toretto, and his whole gang. Most of the mainstay players that'll stick around: Letty, Mia. That's her name, right? Yeah, Mia. And whatnot. And then also just the concept that will then immediately be abandoned. That concept will immediately disappear after the fourth movie, I think. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've actually seen them, so I'm only able to commentate on the first three. So that's the first one. Second one, no Dominic Toretto, so no Vin Diesel, no family. Sorry, no family. But Brian O'Connor is back. This time he is with Roman Pierce, played by Tyrese Gibson. Back when he just went by Tyrese because we thought that was a cool thing to do. Not to just poop all over that, but I just think that's so funny because it's so dumb. And then we get Tokyo Drift, the most hated movie of the franchise. Although upon rewatching it twice over, I've realized that movie has gotten significantly more hate than it deserves. As a Fast and Furious movie, it's a weird one because it has none of the original characters. We've aged down the characters we're following. We're not looking at adults. We're looking at high schoolers in Tokyo. We're doing drift racing, which is a nice change. We still have gangs. We still have some form of criminal organization that is involved, and I think that is hilarious that is the thing that they felt needed to stay while while everything else changes. Like, they can do as they do. Oh, my nose. But anywho, that movie's fine. I like it. It's a good movie. People should go rewatch that. People should rewatch the franchise just to see if they can figure out what in the heck happened that got us from where the movie was originally started to what is occurring now in 9. A movie I still haven't seen, but I've seen enough and heard enough to just know that it is buck wild, right? But the thing, right, that came across my eyeballs that I hadn't thought about was I had never paid attention to who directed some of these movies, and I thought that was an interesting thing of note, right? So I'm going to skip around because I'm going to save the best for last. So the first movie, The Fast and the Furious, is directed by Rob Cohen, not to be confused with the Coen brothers. This man has directed movies like, he directed Triple X, which I thought was both surprising but also not too surprising, because those movies came out a year apart and they're pretty similar in styling. So I was like, that kind of makes sense. He did The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, and I was like, that was unexpected. Alex Cross, The Skulls, which is something I've heard about more recently, but still don't know anything about. Dragonheart, and then like a bunch of others that I have not seen, and it is what it is. So like, obviously not the most prolific actor. There's nothing like crazy at the top of what he does. But, he kicked off the franchise. He started it out for us. Like, he's doing what he does. And that's all that matters. Now, you go over to Tokyo Drift, the third movie, right? That one is directed by Justin Lin. Justin Lin is known for pretty much carrying the Fast and Furious franchise on his back because he did 3, 4, 5, 6, and then came back for 9, and then he was on board to do 10, and then ran into so many troubles with Vin Diesel that he just quit, which is terrifying to think about. He also directed Star Trek Beyond, which is the best movie in that trilogy of reboots out of the J.J. Abrams produced movies. Just it's they pulled a Thor 3 essentially, not to the same vein, not to the same extent, but like that idea is presented there is the best way to state that, and I think it's great. I do like that one. What is this? I was just looking at some other stuff that was in here. So now, the reason I skipped over is because I think the one that breaks my mind is Too Fast, Too Furious, right? Too Fast, Too Furious, Paul Walker, may he rest in peace. Tyrese Gibson is Roman Pierce. A new characters get introduced. Tej, played by Ludacris, who becomes a franchise mainstay. Suki, played by what was your name? By Devin Aoki, who, hey, the chemistry of Suki and Tej is some of the greatest just chemistry of I think any characters in the whole franchise that weren't introduced in the original movie, and I love them both. I'm glad that Tej sticks around. I have to rewatch again because I don't remember if Suki gets a cameo appearance. I know eventually we get a cameo from the boy from Tokyo Drift. At way too late for us to pretend he's still a child, even though he was not a child when he did the movie. But that's besides the point. The real point here is the director, obviously. That's what we've been talking about. So, Too Fast, Too Furious was directed by John Singleton. Now, if you know John Singleton, you know that sounds crazy. If you don't know John Singleton, then I'll have you know that I read the name. My brain melted for 10 seconds because I was like, this can't be. But it is. John Singleton is the man who I think the most, not prolific, but like the biggest title under his belt that a large collection of the populace would recognize is the movie Boys in the Hood. Right? Firstly, I'm going to read you the description of Too Fast, Too Furious as it says on Letterboxd. The movie came out in 2003. So, how fast do you want it? It's a major double cross when former police officer Brian O'Connor teams up with his ex-con buddy Roman Pierce to transport a shipment of dirty money for shady Miami-based import-export dealer Carter Verone. But the guys are actually working with undercover agent Monica Fuentes to bring Verone down. Right? Typical Fast and Furious nonsense. Boys in the Hood, released in 1991, so it's 12 years earlier, right? Once upon a time in the South Central LA, it ain't no fairy tale. Boys in the Hood is the popular and successful film and social criticism from John Singleton about the conditions in South Central Los Angeles where teenagers are involved in gunfights and drug dealing on a daily basis. Those are two very different movies. Two very different films. Two different decades, obviously. But the impact and the heartbreak of Boys in the Hood, because I've seen it. I've seen Boys in the Hood. Okay? There are moments where like the construction of it dies out, but other than that, it is a masterpiece of cinema for what it is. Like, it is great. I love it. Everyone should watch Boys in the Hood. And if you're able to sit through Boys in the Hood, then I'll tell you to go watch Menace to Society. Not directed by him, but also another one you should watch. Thank you to my brother for introducing me to these movies. Right? So to know that those are directed by the same person melts my brain. I need you to also know that John Singleton also directed the movie Poetic Justice and Baby Boy and Four Brothers. So just, it's so crazy. It's so crazy to me. He also did the music video, I think the music video for Remember the Time. Oh, he did the full, if you watch the full video for Michael Jackson's Remember the Time, John Singleton also did that. It's a gorgeous video. It's real long because it's like a short film. So just seeing all of those other things, he also did the Shaft movie with Samuel L. Jackson, but whatever. Seeing those things, like, all under the belt of the same human being, one, shows how great he is at just different genres. It's wow. But it also it melts my brain to think about it, right? Because it's like that moment where you're just sitting there like, yeah, and then like you think about that thing that you did where you embarrassed yourself like 12 years ago in front of Jessica, the third grader, when you yourself were a fourth grader and were supposed to look cooler? Like, that's what it feels like. It's not that, but that is what it feels like. And it's just hilarious to my brain because I just cannot process it. I just really can't. And so now we're here. we can see that. What is this? Marion Jones, press pause. I don't know who that is. I must also now really quickly learn who did Menace to Society. Oh, I spelt menace wrong, so it didn't want to even pretend. Do I need to put the two I's? Really? It would not pull it up because I put the number 2 in there. Even though it's what it is. Who directed you? Oh, the Hughes Brothers. Oh, I know the work from you guys. Some of it. Oh, I did watch The Book of Eli. I was like a pretty certain I've seen something else from them. But it's the only thing I've seen. I've heard about The Good Lord Bird, but I haven't seen that one. Interesting. Yeah. Nights. Sorry, that was funny to me. It just said Nights. What have they written? Have they written anything that they haven't directed? Nope. They've written all the things they've directed. That makes sense. That does make sense. Yeah, what a little trip down movie memory lane that was. What is this? 3,000 Years of Longing. I'm just looking at stuff in here. Seeing what other people are watching. Listening to people die above me, apparently. My lord. Buddy good up there? Alright. I'm going to close out on one more topic from... I think the podcast episodes are going to kind of just stay shorter. I think closer to 30 minutes, between 30-40 has been better content-wise than when I was trying to do 40-45. Maybe that's just me. Maybe other people disagree with that. But, that's kind of what I've felt personally, is that I kind of enjoy having that be the shorter content and then Whatta Book being an hour long because it's, book chapters. And when you do just 30 minutes of that, it never feels like enough, especially in some people's eyes. So, the last one here was the concept of soulmates, right? I was having a conversation with someone and they asked me if I believed in the idea of soulmates, and I said no. I personally find that the idea of soulmates is a little dumb. I think that to believe that there's one particular human being out there that is meant for you, and only one particular human being that is supposed to be with you, discredits all of the time and effort and love you give to other people until you find the person you spend the rest of your life with. That is, if you even do spend the rest of your life with someone, because I think that also ignores the fact that there are some people who don't get to spend the rest of their lives with a significant other, whether it be because of divorce or death or just never ending up with someone to begin with. It makes everyone else almost painted in this negative light because it makes it seem like they never had a choice. Like their life was always going to be, oh, sorry, you don't get anyone. And I think that's a little messed up. I think everyone everywhere has the ability and the notion to be able to love and be loved, and any thought otherwise is just a little foolhardy, a little Tom Hardy. That was a lot of phlegm in my nose just now. Now, I think the concept of one true love is a little bit better than having a soulmate. Now, in your head, you might be thinking that's the same thing, but I don't think it's the same thing. Now, your idea of one true love and a soulmate might look the same, but for me, I find them to be different. I think that a one true love doesn't discredit the journey that you essentially have to take to get to having the one true love. I think it allows you to be able to go through all those other experiences, uh, and take what you've learned from them to be able to apply it to make someone your one true love. Because I don't think it's a matter of like, yep, this is my one true love. I think being able to just find someone that you want to be with, that you'll fight for, and all that other jazz, and make them the one and only. That's my idea of a one true love. You know, it's not something you find, it's something you make. And that's why I kind of see them in a different light from soulmates, because I feel like anyone can make a one true love so long as you're dedicated and passionate to that person. Whereas with a soulmate, there was never a choice. You know, you were just destined. And I think anything that relies on destiny is foolhardy, as presented by Donald Glover in The End of Camp. If you haven't listened to Camp, great album. Most people just know Bonfire and Heartbeat from out of there, but every song is a banger. Backpackers makes me laugh every time it comes on. And that was a nice little segue out of the point. But yeah, just, you shouldn't go around thinking that the right person is going to fall out of the sky for you. You should be going around thinking to yourself, is this the person that I want to make everything right with? That even when there are bad days, when I don't feel well, when they don't feel well, this person is the person I want to continue to stick by the side of. Then you found your one true love, because you've made your one true love. You're going to make that happen. So yeah, that's what I'm going to close out with. Thank you guys so much for listening to the What a Thought podcast. If you liked it, make sure to let me know down below. You can leave comments on the podcast episodes, not on the Whatta Book episodes. If you just can't get enough of my voice, check out everything else that I do. There is a Linktree link in the description. Following it will take you to the other YouTube channel where I post video games every single day, as well as the Twitch, where I usually stream on the weekends. What games I stream just kind of depends on how I'm feeling. Or, you know, if you feel so inclined, you can just follow me on social media, you know. I have some really pretty cool posts made by a real cool friend of mine. And they're the graphic designer for everything. So everything they make is cool, but, you know, I just gotta butter them up a little bit. Let them know that they make great work, because they do. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. I've been Matthew Allen. This is the What I Thought podcast, and I'll see all of you when I see you.